So this is kind of a unique week in the church's liturgical calendar. Only this week and the week following Easter, or the weeks where we have what's called the octave, 8 days of really celebrating the main feast day, in this case, Christmas, and of course in Easter, celebrating Easter. So every day, from December 25th to January 1st, we act as if it's Christmas Day, which is why, we almost forgot. We do the Gloria and so forth. Christmas is a little bit even different than Easter in the sense that on December 26th, you have the feast day of St. Stephen, the first martyr of the church. On the 27th, the gospel writer, St. John. And yesterday with Father Francis, you did the Holy Innocents. Now, Easter doesn't have any of those types of holidays within the octave of Easter, but Christmas does. Today's one of those days, today and tomorrow, where it's just the octave of Christmas. There's no special feast day attached to it. Now this year, because Christmas fell on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we celebrated the Feast of the Holy Family, which took the place of St. Stephen and St. John. Anyways, why am I telling you all this? Well, really, just for your own edification, just in case you were wondering. But also that within the octave of Christmas, when we don't have those feast days of Stephen or John or the Holy Innocents, the church gives us the first letter of St. John. And so that's where I want to go with this morning. It's a great letter, most likely written by the same gospel writer. He has a lot of the similar themes and content that we see in the gospel. There's one phrase that I want to reflect on. It's kind of a little bit in the middle. Here it is. This is the way we know that we are in union with him. How do we know that we're in union with God? I think a lot of us wonder sometimes and question it. Whoever claims to abide in him ought to walk just as he walked. Which I'm glad our readings use the word walk, because other translations use the word live. But walk is more of an accurate translation of the Greek. To walk just as he walked. Christmas is all about celebrating the arrival in the flesh of God. God becomes man, and now the invisible God becomes visible. We see him. We see him, we listen to him, we speak to him. Not in the spirit, but flesh to flesh, And so when Jesus walked, and literally in the Gospels, he's always walking, right? He's always traveling. He's always moving from one place to another. The whole Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, really the majority of the Gospels is just Jesus' journey to Jerusalem. He begins in Galilee, and then he starts to approach Jerusalem, and a lot of things happen, on the way towards Jerusalem. So Jesus literally walked, but there was also the idea of, Jesus also gives us an example. We look at him and we look how he loved. The whole gospel is one gospel of love. And anybody can love your family and you can love your friends. But Jesus also loved his enemies. He was tough on his enemies only because he loved them. He was calling them to conversion. And so John in his letter, the way that we walk as Jesus has walked is that it's all about the primacy of the virtue of love. That's it. St. Paul says it flat out. Love is the greatest of them all. Between faith, hope, and love, love is the greatest. John doesn't say it explicitly, but as you read his letter, the primacy is the primacy of love. How do we love? If our lives is full of hate and anger and vengeance, it's not from God. It's not God's way. It's not the way God lives. Jesus faced his enemies by laying out his hands and letting his enemies, in a sense, crucify him. only the overcome death. Now, again, I'm not saying we be pushovers. I'm definitely not promoting that. But just the idea, the mentality that dedication, sacrifice, forgiveness, these are the ways of love. These are the ways of God. So during the Christmas season, again, a season where there's a lot of sentimentality, a lot of love, a lot of all that stuff, no doubt about it. But how do we love those that hate us? How do we forgive? Again, going back to our families, maybe sometimes people, you have a brother, you have a sister you haven't talked to in years. You might not even know why you're angry over them, but you are. Let this be a season of love, forgiveness, mercy, the ways of God. That's how God walked. Let us walk in that same light as well. May God bless you.